Flávio Bolsonaro. He's in trouble. There's no way out. What's his strategy now? To buy time. The only thing left for Flávio is to buy time, so that he can run in the elections and try to fool people. And don't be fooled. It seems that Andre Mendonça might help him with this strategy, because Andre Mendonça hasn't yet told the federal police to officially investigate Flávio. He said he'll send it to the prosecutor general this week, wait for their response, and then send it to the police. But what do you mean, guys, for God's sake? So his strategy is to buy time. Why? Because he knows what he did last summer. He knows about the apparently criminal connections with Daniel Vorcaro. So what does he need to do? Buy time to see if he can fool people, sweet talk the crowd, and get elected. If he gets elected, then everything gets shelved and protected. Then the protector today, Andre Mendonça, will become the one who shelves everything. Just like Augusto Aras. And we can't let that happen. How? What can we do, Andrea Gonçalves, to stop this strategy? Talk, show, talk again, show again on social media, because this is bringing real results. Where Flávio can't hide it and can't fool people. So much so that a survey came out. A survey just came out. Lula gains 8 more percentage points and wins in the first round. A survey came out today. Lula gains 8 more percentage points and wins in the first round, and that's what we're fighting and pushing for. It's for Lula to win in the first round and put an end to this nonsense. I'm going to tell you something. Even the market doesn't want Flávio now, especially with this high tariff. He was so desperate that he offered the entire transition government if he wins the election to the Trump administration, because he knew he needed to stop the huge tariff. They went after it, especially through Eduardo Bolsonaro, to try to make it happen, and they couldn't stop the huge tariff. The main people who will suffer from this huge tariff, aside from us, are the elite and super rich. Who would vote for Flávio, who is now rejecting Flávio, because they know that Flávio is more of the same and very little like Bolsonaro. Competente, incompetent, criminal, and worthless. And he doesn't even know how to represent those he actually represents, which is the Brazilian elite. And that's a big shot in the foot. That's why, things are not going well, not at all. Things are tough for him. But what do I think? I think it's not enough. But let's see here. Lindenberg Farias talked about this strategy. Trying to buy time, trying to stall, sweet-talking the crowd, fooling everyone, and dragging this out even after the elections. But we're going to show it. And that's it. It's over. Are we going to try to hide the connection and the criminal activity of Daniel Vorcaro's mafia with Flávio? We'll show it. It's not a problem. Not at all. Look, pay attention.
Flávio Bolsonaro's defense strategy is to push this dark horse movie story until after the elections. Look, on May 13th, that audio of Flávio with Vorcaro leaked. Big bro, I am and will always be with you. May 13th, every day I'm pushing. Going to the Supreme Court, going to the federal police. Now the news comes out that Minister Andre Mendonça is going to send it to TV. To open an investigation this coming week. It's already been 45 days. Today is June 28th. At least the federal police's approach seems to be a good one. According to the news in the papers, they're talking about 3 investigations. About this money from Vorcaro to finance Flávio Bolsonaro's movie, but there's a second one. See how this money was used. Because it's in the Raven Gate Fund, controlled by Eduardo Bolsonaro. If it was used to finance Eduardo Bolsonaro's stay and Eduardo Bolsonaro's campaign against Brazil, this is a second line of investigation. And the third line of investigation is about congressional earmarks. Because the production company received from the São Paulo City Hall, from the federal district government, and 4.8 million from congressional earmarks. The fact is, folks, that we have to stay on top of it, on top of it.
And then I want to add 2 things that were my requests. both to the production company and to the fund. That they organized themselves to give everyone a transparent accounting of the expenses incurred because of this investment in the film within 30 days.
The point is that we can't accept stalling. We have to demand and insist on speed in this investigation. I even appealed a decision by Minister Fachin that placed the entire investigation into the film Dark Horse under Minister Andre Mendonça. Look, Minister Andre Mendonça is the justice overseeing the Banco Master scandal. There's more to this. This producer, Karina Gama, received 230 million. Money came from São Paulo City Hall, the federal district government, and congressional earmarks. How is Banco Master involved in this? For me, it would be much more appropriate, since it has a connection with parliamentary amendments, to have Minister Flávio Dino as the rapporteur. But let's go, guys. Let's demand it. Let's exercise our right to demand and require an investigation into this scandal that financed the Bolsonaro family and their crimes against Brazil.
That's it, folks. We have to put pressure. We have to put pressure on Andre Mendonça. And those are exactly the lines of investigation. The money from Daniel Volcaro that went to the movie, the money that went to the Havergate Fund, where did it go? Did it go to the movie, or was it used to support Eduardo Bolsonaro to attack our sovereignty, to impose tariffs, to apply the Magnitsky Act? How does that work? Another investigation focuses on parliamentary amendment funds allocated to the movie. Guys, that's a lot of money. It's too much money for just one movie. The movie about that loser Bolsonaro. And now we're facing that loser Andre Mendonça, who's still around. It's a lot of money and there's no way around it. They're going to have to explain. They're going to have to be held accountable. They're going to have to prove where that money went, especially, as I already told you in the 8:30 live about Daniel Volcaro, that it's stolen money. Where did that money go? Because stolen money is a big problem, which is what, Andre? Laundering it. Launder it so you can use it at the end. And for me, this movie was used as a big orange grove for a laundromat, laundering the money stolen from Daniel Volcaro, where the money was distributed, even perhaps very possibly for paying bribes. And this will be investigated. Now we have to put pressure on Andre Mendonça. We have to stick it to his devilish side. So he turns up the heat, because if he doesn't turn up the heat, again, we'll turn up the heat here on social media. Put it up there, Andre Mendonça. Hey, Andre, look here who it was. Let's move forward. Do you want the train? You do, so take it and do it right. Because if not, we'll come after you. There, it's over, because we want justice. Look here, okay? The federal police concluded that Flávio Bolsonaro committed criminal defamation against Lula after investigations and an inquiry opened in April. The federal police sent a conclusion of the inquiry. What is it here, huh? Flávio trying to say that Lula, with privileged jurisdiction and I don't know what else, terrorists, linked to terrorists, to the dictatorship, I don't know what. Flávio made this post and put Lula there, saying that she was connected to and defended terrorists, basically that. The federal police finished their investigation and stated he committed criminal defamation. Where does this go? It goes to the Attorney General's office. And it's the Attorney General's office that will decide whether to file the charges or not. Here's the thing, we have to stop it together. That the Superior Electoral Court is kind of lame, kind of useless, right? The Superior Electoral Court is a mess. Not a mess, Andre. It's not a mess, it's just lame. It's kind of lame, just like Bolsonaro's lame movie. The Superior Electoral Court is ineffective. The federal police should crack down to see if the Supreme Court moves against them too. Because if they let it go, anything will be allowed in this election. There will be fake posts, all kinds of situations. Did you see? Meanwhile, Bolsonaro, is Bolsonaro going back to Papudinho or not? Then Alexandre de Moraes has to decide. Look here, okay? Moraes decides this week whether to send Bolsonaro back to prison. The minister will determine whether Bolsonaro stays at home or returns to prison after the 90-day period expires and a pistol registered in his name is found with one of the security guards. So Alexandre de Moraes should decide this week, okay? Alexandre de Moraes listened to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General said he didn't see any serious offense. Oh, I've never seen an inmate being treated the way Bolsonaro is being treated, with kid gloves. I've never seen that in my life. I've never seen an inmate sentenced to 27 years have a pistol and that not be considered a serious offense. I've never seen that in my life. Anyway, the Attorney General said it wasn't a serious infraction. Now, Alexandre de Moraes will listen to the lawyers' statements. The lawyers also told Alexandre de Moraes to understand that Bolsonaro didn't have bad intentions, so it wasn't anything like that and so on, and just let it go and keep him under house arrest. Alexandre de Moraes is going to allow it soon. Since even the Attorney General isn't stepping up, that makes things difficult, right? Give me a break. Just send Bolsonaro to Papuda and end this strange situation. The guy is a prisoner, people. Give me a break. Meanwhile, a poll came out today and Lula almost wins in the first round. Go ahead and put it there, Lula. 4 times in the first round. Look. Which poll is it, Central? Which institute is it from? Check it for me. First round, Lula PT, 42% of the vote. And Flávio Bolsonaro with 34% of the vote. 34% of the vote. Second round, Lula, 47% of the vote. And Flávio Bolsonaro, 44% of the vote. Nexus BTG. It's from Nexus BTG. First round, pay attention here. Lula with 42%. 8 more percentage points and 1 vote. Lula wins in the first round. We have to work for that. Work hard. And, you know, Flávio isn't even getting help from the Bolsonaros themselves, right? Michel slammed him. This weekend, did you see? Last week, he slammed him. Then Alen dos Santos comes in, then Paulo Figueiredo, they're slamming Michel. Michel doesn't like it. Then Damares came in and others joined in to defend Michel. And all hell is breaking loose in the Bolsonaro clan. And that costs him points because Flávio is falling and losing support among evangelicals. I showed you all him at the Divine Eternal Father procession, but he's evangelical, so why is he going to a Catholic event? Well, that's his craziness. So he's losing support among evangelicals and among women. So he's losing support even within his own group of Bolsonaro supporters. That's very interesting. That's why he's desperate and lashing out everywhere. And things are getting really heated. And another situation is that he's also losing support among the elite themselves because of the tariff issue. And because of Marco Rubio's letter, which revealed that Flávio Bolsonaro is a candidate for the presidency, not for Brazil, but as a pawn of the United States for interference in Brazil, where he said he would put the entire transition government at the disposal of the United States, just so you know. And even so, Marco Rubio didn't want it. He humiliated and disdained Flávio Bolsonaro. What a shame. What a bunch of crooks. What a bunch of lackeys, American bootlickers. Go on, back off, devil. So because of all this, he's dropping in the polls. Then the situation with the evangelicals got worse because of Michel. Things are tense because they're targeting Michel. Paulo Figueiredo said that Damares has become a feminist activist, and there's a deep split in Bolsonarism. The former family minister from Bolsonaro's government became the target of attacks from the digital Bolsonarist family. Why, Andre? Because she stepped in to defend Michel. Then they went all out attacking her. Damares Alves, who is also evangelical. And to make things worse, look at this. They said she's the pastor's lover. Oh my God. Exchange of messages on X, Damares and Oswaldo trade barbs. Damares, right? She talked about Paulo Figueiredo and all that. She said, hello, Paulo Figueiredo. Nice to meet you. I'm Senator Damares. I don't think you know me. Let me introduce myself properly. I'm that woman who stands up to pedophiles, to the corrupt. I face organized crime head on without fear. I'm that woman who is out in the streets and in the communities and blah, 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 blah. Then Oswaldo came to defend Paulo Figueiredo and attack her. And all of this is because she's defending Michel Bolsonaro. Then Oswaldo says, Damares, that's a lie. Actually, you're the lover of a married pastor from Recanto das Semas in Brasilia and one of the biggest feminists in Brazil. Are you up for a live stream with me? I'm the employee Marco Carvalho. Your employee Marco Carvalho used to steal from the offering box from the Baptist church. Philadelphia and Guará. Oh dear Jesus, only classy people here. It's the pot calling the kettle black, and all in the name of Jesus. Don't bring Jesus into this. Don't bring Jesus into this. Jesus has nothing to do with this. So now they're all fighting with each other, all kinds of people. And all of this, I'll say it again, is because Damares stepped in to defend Michelle. Then Eduardo Bolsonaro and Flávio Bolsonaro's attack dogs went after Damares. Yeah, go mess with those sexist, misogynistic, homophobic people. Yeah, go ahead. That's what happens. They'll come after you until the end. What do I think? They deserve it. We need to have some shame and know who we hang out with and who we ally ourselves with. So you see, evil destroys itself, and we help because we show the reality. But it's chaos breaking out in every possible way. That's when these people come in. And I don't feel sorry, no. I think, you know what I think? I think it's not enough. Meanwhile, things went wrong. Marco Rubio keeps the tariffs and ignores Flávio Bolsonaro's appeal. Flávio Bolsonaro, guys, was humiliated by Marco Rubio. He was humiliated. Flávio bowed his head. He showed his butt to the United States, and even so, the United States didn't want to meet his request to lower the tariffs. A horrible thing, right? So Flávio is just messing up. He messes up when it comes to the United States, and he ends up being labeled a traitor to the country, just like Eduardo Bolsonaro. He messes up by attacking Michelle. Michelle fought back. So that's the whole situation, and most importantly, his involvement with Daniel Bocado's mafia. Look, it even came out on Globo News about the investigation into this whole situation here. Look, pay attention, my dear. Pay attention, like the live stream.
The expectation is that 3 lines of investigation will be opened. We put together a graphic here showing what these 3 lines will be. The first one is to investigate the transfers of 61 million made by Daniel Vucarelli, former owner of Master, at the request of Flávio Bolsonaro. The second is to investigate a possible allocation of part of the funds to support Eduardo Bolsonaro in the United States. The third one aims to investigate the allocation of parliamentary amendments to organizations linked to the film's production company. This information comes from G1 reporter Reynaldo Turolo, who says that these 3 investigations are expected to be opened by the federal police in the coming days. Speaking first about this investigation that aims to find out whether Eduardo Bolsonaro was funded in the United States, investigators see this as a somewhat more complex case because it requires some cooperation from American authorities. For example, when it comes to, for instance, breaking confidentiality involving people who are in the United States, that's why it would be a bit more complex. Now talking about those 61 million raised that were allegedly transferred by Daniel Borcado to finance the movie Dark Horse. At the request of Flávio Bolsonaro, what the federal police mainly intends to investigate is whether there was any return for Daniel Borcado, or rather if Flávio Bolsonaro did any kind of favor for Daniel Borcado or his team because of this transfer of 61 million reais. And this investigation was waiting. The federal police was waiting for the federal Supreme Court to decide who would be the rapporteur for this case. As you said, Minister Andre Mendonça was chosen, but before that, there was an inquiry. That's because this request for an investigation came through a request made by Congressman Lindbergh Farias within the inquiry that led to the conviction of Eduardo Bolsonaro for coercion during the course of the process. He presented this in the inquiry because he believed that Eduardo Bolsonaro acted internationally also to try to finance this film. The case was assigned to Minister Alexandre de Moraes, who requested an opinion from the Attorney General's office before making a statement. Paulo Gonê, the Attorney General, believed that this transfer in this case would be more related to the investigation involving Banco Master, so the case should stay with Andre Mendonça. And then, the final decision was up to the President of the Supreme Federal Court, Minister Edson Fachin, who stated yesterday that the case should be assigned to Andre Mendonça, because he is already the rapporteur for the Banco Master investigation. Congressman Denise de Lindbergh Farias filed an appeal requesting that the case, in fact, be assigned to Minister Flavio Dino. Minister Flavio Dino is the rapporteur for this third branch, so to speak, of the investigation, which will deal with this alleged of financing entities linked to the production of this film Dark Horse. In practice, Natuzi, the expectation is that 3 lines of investigation will be opened.
Well, yeah, but it has to be open soon, right, everyone? It has to be open soon because, for God's sake, really, for the love of Jesus, it should have been open already. They should already be investigating. It was in May that The Intercept revealed this whole situation. It's been almost 45 days. It's already been 45 days. This needs investigation. It should have been done yesterday. We'll try to stall soon, then comes the election. But there's a catch I haven't told you yet. No way. If things don't move forward in the Supreme Federal Court, we're going to expose more and more every day. You can be sure of that. And we are not going to accept this situation. There won't be another Lava Jato 2.0. This won't happen anymore. The truth will come out no matter who it hurts. And Flávio Bolsonaro, to me, he seems more like a partner of Daniel Alvorcar. That's the situation. And all of this needs to be dealt with, okay? So this is a very serious point, very serious, about Flávio Bolsonaro. And the other point is this attack on our sovereignty together with the United States government. The United States wants to colonize Brazil again, to steal from Brazil. And it is being supported by the Bolsonarists, notably by Eduardo Bolsonaro and Flávio Bolsonaro. And we cannot accept this. Sovereignty is not negotiable. And I'm saying this regardless of whether you're right wing or left wing, it doesn't matter. Sovereignty, our territory, our Brazil, our family, our world, our life, it's ours. And there's no one who should interfere. Especially because he has a lot of problems to solve in his own country, and he doesn't solve them. Is he going to solve them here? That's nonsense, fan. What kind of nonsense is this?